Guys, I have two capture cards for you today. Brand new cards from a company you probably aren't expecting. Except you probably are expecting because the name was in the title. But NZXT has jumped into the capture card game. Today, we need to do two things. First, we need to compare these two to their equivalent counterparts with Elgato. This is AVerMedia. With AVerMedia and Elgato, and see how the features line up across the board. And then two, we need to determine, are these capture cards actually bringing something new to the space, something streamers don't already have access to, or is another company just jumping into the race, hoping to make a quick buck off of streamers? Let's find out. Guys, I have a sponsor segment here that'll be great news for every Twitch streamer, especially those of you that have a Discord community. If you've ever tried getting custom emotes for your channel or for your server, you know it can be a bit of a headache. You have to find a trustworthy artist, you have to wait a long time for them to be done, and you have to pay per emote. It's an overwhelming process. Until now. Visuals by Impulse, or VBI, have created multiple emote packs, even animated ones that you can pick up today for a fraction of the cost. There are tons of designs to choose from. They all come with at least 12 different emotes, and most of them are like 15 bucks for an entire pack of 12. That's insane. I've paid 30 bucks an emote before. Plus, if you use code Senpai, you get 20% off, which makes it $12. That's a single dollar per emote. They work for Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Discord. Plus, you can add matching badges like sub badges, bit badges, VIP badges, all the badges. They have everything, and it's all studio quality, drawn by hand by some incredibly talented illustrators. So stop waiting around. If you need emotes and badges, link in the description below. Pick some up from VBI. Cool, so we have two brand new capture cards by NZXT, both of them in a I really love the design actually. It's very slim, it's very clean, they feel super sturdy. I love the matte black look, especially these little purple feet. We have the HD60, which sounds familiar. Kind of a weird trend these days, just blatantly copy Elgato's naming scheme, like verbatim. Like, you know what I'm talking about. But the HD60 is a 1080p 60 frames per second capture card, priced at a super affordable $139, and it's got some interesting features. The other one is the 4K 30, and the two look almost identical. The main difference between the two is that this one is considerably heavier. Like, I could tell you which one is which just by feeling them. But I don't hate that. It's a very solid, in fact, they're both very solid feeling capture cards. So let's start with the HD60. Price-wise and feature-wise, it's placed kind of between like the small form factor camera capture cards and like full form capture cards like we see here. On top of that, even though its capture is limited to 1080, it can actually pass through 4K 60, 1440p 60, or even 1080 120. That was something that wasn't actually in the documentation. It says it's limited to 1080 60 pass through, but I got it to work at 1080 120, meaning that you can use this card on some like recent generation consoles, or honestly even current generation consoles, as long as you don't plan on streaming like 1440p 144 hertz or something. It's a pretty capable capture card. The other thing about this is it not only works for Mac, but it also uses the UVC protocol, meaning you don't actually have to install any software. If you plug this in and you plug your camera into it, it sees it as a webcam. So you can use this in apps like Discord or Zoom or Skype or even OBS without installing any software. Plug it in, there it is. I don't think there's another capture card at this price that has those features. I know, there are people outside, it's not a big deal. You're ruining the whole shot. Or maybe he's making it better, I don't know, it's up to you. Comment down below, is he ruining the shot or is he making it better? Like the video if he's making it better, comment if he's ruining it, or just do both. Do both. It helps out a ton and it's free. Thank you. But let's talk about the 4K 30, because this is where things start to get a little bit more nitty gritty, and we need to see what's really valuable about this card, especially if it's worth $179, which is, man, this is considerably, as I'm doing this, it's like considerably heavier. It's not like it's gonna wear my arm out, but it feels so solid. It's gotta be like the heatsink or something in there from the extra processing. So at $179, the main capture cards we need to compare this to are the AVerMedia Live Gamer Ultra and the HD60 S Plus. The AVerMedia goes for $169, The HD60 S Plus goes for $179, but I've seen it on Amazon for $172 recently. So the documentation I got on this capture card says it captures in 4K 30 and literally doesn't say anything else. So I had to plug in a bunch of different sources and figure out what it was actually capable of capturing in. I was able to set this to record in 4K 30, also 1440p 60, and also 1080p 60. I couldn't get it to record in higher frame rates. I don't think that's supported here. NZXT, let me know if I'm wrong. These were my findings. But the other main difference here is what it's capable of via pass-through. This card is able to pass through 4K 60 HDR, which HDR is not something that 1080 is capable of. The pass-through 4K 60 HDR, 1440p 144 Hertz, or 1080p 240 Hertz. So you are capable of just about any gaming experience on this. However, side by side with the AVerMedia, which is $10 cheaper, this card is capable of doing all of that. Plus, it can capture in 1080 60 HDR, something that this is incapable of doing. Plus, AVerMedia has developed their Rec Central software, which allows you to record your gameplay in the background, and then while you're recording, you can go back and pin highlight markers and even edit inside the software to make montages or just cut out your favorite clips. Really, the only downside to this card is it's just older. So it's beefier, it doesn't feel as premium. It's got a fan in there that you can actually kind of hear sometimes. Like, here you go. That's really the only difference is the design. If you're looking at the disadvantage for the AVerMedia, when it comes to the HD60 S Plus, I would actually have to say the NZXT card fits kind of nicely between the HD60 S Plus and the HD60 X. Mainly because the HD60 S Plus, while just like the AVerMedia, is capable of capturing 1080 60 HDR, which this one is not capable of doing, it's not able to pass through 1440p or capture 1440p. It's also not able to pass through higher frame rates. While the HD60 X can do everything the NZXT card can do, plus it can pass through variable refresh rates. Also, Elgato, of course, I mention this every time I mention a product, has their software available. So their 4K capture utility, you are able to capture your gameplay separately, individually from your OBS readout and do flashback recordings. They also coordinate with your Stream Deck. So you can have multiple flashback recording buttons based at different lengths. So if you're not super familiar with what I'm talking about, maybe you hit a super amazing shot on stream, you can go back and record the last 30 seconds retroactively. Or maybe you have an absolutely amazing whole game, you can hit a different button and go back and record the previous 30 minutes. NZXT software is basically an information readout. It uses NZXT Cam. That's pretty much it. But look, if you're not looking for any of those features, you just want to capture your gameplay, it's a great card. It's super sleek, super small. I mean, I think it'd be a great travel card. I'm probably going to put one of these permanently in my backpack actually and make it my travel card. And then both being Mac friendly and UVC protocol devices is great because then I can set up my laptop and I can bring my nice camera and I can have fancy Zoom calls wherever I go. That's basically what I use capture cards on the go for. But look, with the 4K 30, if we're talking about price per feature, I don't see it really winning against any of these. In fact, I would probably say if you don't mind going with some slightly older tech, the AVerMedia Live Gamer Ultra is kind of the winner in this group. I mean, AVerMedia does everything the NZXT card does and more for less. It's just an older card. But I really think the HD60 has kind of found its niche here. With the low price, it's got 4K 60 pass-through, UVC protocol works for Mac. I think the HD60 is a great budget card. And by the way, I tested these both out. I plugged it into my PC. I recorded some footage. They're great cards. They look great. I see no problem with the quality. And if you're interested in more information on this, I'll be plugging these in to my main streaming setup and using these particularly to capture my Mac for music production that I plan on doing on stream. By the way, I stream here on YouTube, youtube.com/HarrisHeller. I'll link to my personal channel down below where I do those streams. So come on in, let's see how it handles like long term, because I think that's important. And we'll see if we learn anything new. Links, of course, to both of these in the description down below. If you have any questions, either jump in my stream or jump into the Discord. We've got an amazing Discord that's been completely revamped. Link to that in the description down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you hit the like button. I'm gonna give you a sec if you haven't yet. You watched the whole video. I know you like it. Please hit the like button and subscribe while you're down there if you haven't already. And as always, happy streaming.